Okay, good morning. So welcome again. Um, Before starting, I just want to inform everybody that the meeting is being recorded. This session is being recorded so that then we can share it in our YouTube channel for others that cannot join us today, can see them and can see the presentation and learn from it. So welcome to this webinar about living and working in Ireland. My name is Susana Pais. I work for EURES Portugal, which operates within the Public Employment Service, the Portuguese Public Employment Service. And first of all, I would like to thank our colleagues from Ireland that joined us, that are here together with us. So it's Gavin and Cathy. Cathy still doesn't have
Hello, everyone.
Can you
Morning,
start your
everybody.
video so that we can see you, Cathy?
Can you see me now?
Not yet.
Uh-oh.
You
I'll
will
try again.
you will try it. Yes, you will keep trying until we can see
And
you.
now?
And then I take the opportunity to also present Dora and Paula that are joining us from EURES Portugal to help us with the questions in the chat and also to help us with technical issues. Dora and Paula, thank you for being here with us this morning. Cathy, so as I was saying, we are a network where European Employment Services cooperates, and our objective is to facilitate the free movement of workers within the European Union and the European Economic Area. This includes 27 member states, Norway, Iceland, Liechtenstein, and Switzerland. We provide free of charge services both to job seekers and employers, whether it's information, advice, or support to recruitment. And in order to provide those services, we have a network of EURES advisors that are experts in mobility. We have around 35 EURES advisors in Portugal, spread all over the country that you can contact. And all over Europe, there are more than 1,000 EURES advisors ready to support you in your career move. We also have a EURES portal where you can find on a daily basis more than 3 million job vacancies available in all sorts of occupations. There is also an online platform where we organize recruitment events. It is called the European Job Days platform. And we are also available on the chat on Fridays and, of course, on social media, where you can follow all the activities we have planned for the near future. So thank you again for being here. I just want to make sure Cathy is with us, yes. And without further delay, I pass the floor to Gavin so he can start the presentation.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Gavin, and I'm a EURES advisor here in Ireland. So I'm just going to share the living and working presentation with you all. So you should be all able to see that now as a slideshow.
Yes, it's okay, Gavin. You can proceed.
Brilliant. Yeah. So as I said, my name is Gavin, and I am a EURES advisor here in Ireland. And I'm just going to talk you through about the opportunities in Ireland and about living and working in Ireland for you all. And by the end of the presentation, hopefully you'll be informed about coming to live and work in Ireland. So where is Ireland? It is the most westerly country in the EU. Lisbon to Dublin is about 1,640 kilometers. The flight time is about 2.5 hours. And Portugal and Ireland are actually in the same time zone. Politically, Ireland is divided into two parts. The Republic of Ireland, which is shown here in green, which is made up of 26 counties, and Northern Ireland, which is made up of 6 counties and is part of the United Kingdom. The capital of Ireland is Dublin and has a population of about 1.5 million. There is 4 other main cities in Ireland: Cork, Limerick, Galway and Waterford, with populations of between about 51,000 and 198,000. Ireland is mainly made up of rural villages and towns outside of the urban areas. We do have a very good infrastructure with motorways and public transport linking rural and urban areas. The capital, Dublin, on the map you can see it there, is on the east coast and about halfway up. The population of Ireland is just over 5 million. Irish people do like to go abroad to gain new experience. Emigration is very popular among young people who have graduated from college and will mainly go abroad to English-speaking countries. Immigration of people coming from abroad is the highest since 2007. This is just a brief information on life satisfaction, and it's very high in Ireland currently, and we're in the top 3 in the EU. So the most recent survey found that 89% of people are satisfied with their life in Ireland. Looking at labour market factors, Ireland is made up of a young, highly educated workforce, the youngest workforce in the EU. Many young people travel to gain experience abroad and will emigrate, which we've already talked about. English language. English is the first language of Ireland and spoken in the workplace. Irish is spoken, but not necessary for work. But many people who come from abroad do like to learn some Gaeilge. Generally, the amount of pay you get for working is agreed between you and your employer. There is a minimum wage, and pay negotiations normally happen when you get a job offers where you can negotiate the amount of wage if it is negotiable. And under the National Minimum Wage Act, there is a minimum wage which is currently €11.30 per hour. The following are areas that there is difficulty in recruiting for in Ireland. So at the top of the slide, we have transport and logistics, where there's skill shortages for HGV drivers, bus and coach drivers. In information technology, there's demand in a number of different roles, and we have currently shortages in IT project managers, software developers, engineers, IT analysis, analysts. In the hospitality sector, there is shortages. Certainly, there is a high demand for chefs, but also for other areas. There's other crafts. We have welders, CNC programmers. In social care, we have skill shortages in healthcare assistants and care workers. In the healthcare, there's demand across all healthcare occupations. We have a large demand currently in Ireland for construction. We have a huge project within Ireland, Future Building, and we are looking for people within the construction continuously. We also have demand for science and engineering. So if you are interested in coming to Ireland, I mean, the idea here today is to give you the information, but for particular sectors, you can contact us and email us, and we will give you all those details at the end. And you can also maybe ask questions on your particular sector if you so wish at the end of this presentation. So if you are looking for work in Ireland, first port of call will be the Department of Social Protection or the Intro Centre. This is where you will need to go to get your PPSN number, which will be required for working in Ireland. The Department of Social Protection Intro Centre is a one-stop shop providing services, information and advice for job seekers and the unemployed, and information on training for the unemployed. In relation to jobs in Ireland, we have a number of job websites listed there, which is jobsireland.ie, jobs.ie, and irishjobs.ie. There's the EURES Ireland website, which will give you a lot of information on coming to live and work in Ireland also. And the National Recruitment Federation also has a very good website, and on that you can get information on all the different recruitment companies within Ireland and the particular sectors, so that is very useful. Living and working in all the EU countries is available on the EURES portal, and again under that you can go in and look at living and working in Ireland. For some of you, depending on the qualification you have, you may need to look to get it recognised in Ireland. So Quality and Qualification Ireland, QQI.ie, is the Centre for the Recognition of International Qualifications. The authority represents Ireland in a European network of centres known as ENIC and NARIC. NARIC Ireland offers free online advice on foreign qualification recognition. And it is very important to have qualifications recognised in Ireland. And NARIC's searchable foreign qualifications database allows you to download a comparability statement that compares your academic qualification to an Irish qualification of a similar major award type and level on the Irish National Framework of Qualifications. All employers will want to make sure that you have the required qualifications for the job. If your qualification is not on the database of qualifications, you can submit paperwork to have your recognition checked by NARIC. And you can get financial assistance to do this through the Targeted Mobility Scheme. So you can talk to your EURES advisor, both in Portugal or ourselves in Ireland, about that if you do need to get your qualification recognised. So CV advice for the Irish market. My colleague Cathy will be giving a presentation on CV and interview skills. So this is just a brief overview. So people in Ireland do not include a photo, and make sure you keep your CV as simple as possible and limit to 2 pages. Sure, it looks professional, and a basic black and white CV usually works the best. Cathy will be going into more detail in this in her presentation. So some information for you all before you come to Ireland. We do recommend that you secure a job in Ireland before you leave Portugal. You could search the EURES portal for job opportunities. Follow EURES Ireland on Facebook page, which will be lots of useful information, and regularly there is job positions posted. Contact your local EURES advisor in Portugal before you leave the country about looking at opportunities and coming to Ireland. You can contact an Irish user advisor, you can email or go on the EURES chat on a Friday. Use your personal networks. Maybe you already know people living in Ireland, maybe contact them. What options are available? How could they support you? Seek pre-departure advice on living and working issues. So that's about talking to your advisor in Portugal. You can talk to myself and Cathy, we're always available. And there is also a EURES email address at the end of this presentation where you can send your queries to. Contact details to EURES advisors can be found on the EURES portal, the www.eures.europa.eu. So the CV format may differ depending on the country. Again, Cathy will go into more detail in that in her presentation. Always remember to bring relevant documents and always evidence of your qualifications. Practice your English language skills before you leave Portugal. And make sure you have a European health insurance card and bring that with you. Remember again the qualification recognition. Bring proof of your social insurance contributions paid in your country, or transfer your unemployment benefit if that's what you're doing. You would then bring them to the Department of Social Protection intro office. Always bring sufficient funds with you, and make sure and look at applying for the Targeted Mobility Scheme relocation support, which can be done through EURES Portugal or EURES Ireland. So a lot of employers pay monthly, so that's what we're talking about when we're saying bring sufficient funds. So you should always make sure you have enough to see you maybe through your first month of living in Ireland, and this would include the cost of living and month's rent and rent deposit. So the European Targeted Mobility Scheme. The European Targeted Mobility Scheme offers financial assistance to EU citizens aged 18 plus in relocating for work to another EU country, Norway or Iceland, for at least 6 months contracts and up. You must apply for the financial support before you leave your country of residence and before the starting date of your new job. That's a very important piece. So under the TMS allowance, there is interview trip allowance from 110 to 385 for travel, depending on the distant travel, plus a daily subsistence allowance of 55 per day, up to a max of 5 days. So let's say you had applied for a job here in Ireland, an employer wants you to come over for interview. You could apply for the TMS allowance for interview trip allowance to support you to come over for the interview. Then there's also a relocation allowance, which is a flat rate reimbursement allowance of between 770 and 1,540, depending on the cost in the destination country. For example, someone moving to Ireland, it is 1,232 currently. For recognition of qualifications, which I talked about in a previous slide, there's a flat rate of €440 to help you do that if you need to get your qualification in Portugal recognised when coming to Ireland. There's also a language training allowance, which is a reimbursement of actual costs up to a maximum of 2,200. So you can talk to either EURES Portugal, to an advisor in Portugal or in Ireland, and we can also guide you on that. Also then there's a family relocation allowance. So this is an additional relocation support of 1,232 for each of the qualifying family members traveling with the relocation applicant, which would be yourself. So the Target Mobility Scheme is very, very beneficial, and it's a scheme that a lot of people would not be aware of. So something to look into, and certainly if you're looking at moving to another EU country, and in this case, hopefully at the end of this presentation, you will be considering moving to Ireland, you can talk to, as I say, your advisor in Portugal or ourselves in Ireland about the TMS. There's further information there on it. And also, if you did have a query, you can email tms@welfare.ie if you had a query about the TMS in relation to moving to Ireland. So on arrival, what do you need to do? We've said already you need to go to your local Department of Social Protection intro office. So as an EU national, you will need a personal public service PPS number to register for employment services, and you do that with the Intro Social Welfare Office if you are starting employment in Ireland. You'll have to register for tax, and you do that through revenue.ie. You'll have to open a bank account, and to do that you will need an introduction letter from your employer with exact details as per passport. You'll have to have a driving license or passport and details of an Irish address or utility bill. So as EURES advisors, we're here to help and guide you through all of this. So don't let this overwhelm you. It's just part of the process of moving from one country to the other, and we would try and make it as seamless as possible, and we can help and guide you through the process. So moving on to renting a house or apartment. So in Ireland, landlords usually require 1 month's rent in advance, and they will also usually require a security deposit of 1 month in advance. Generally, leases are for 1 year. All rental agreements are legal. So in Ireland also, it is very common for people to share accommodation. So we would recommend if you're looking at coming to Ireland, and it's something that you want to do and you're open to it, obviously that's up to you as an individual. Are you looking at sharing in a house, maybe a 4-bedroom house with 3 other people, we would always say check out daft.ie, and there is an option there for the sharing a house or property. So looking at average rents in Ireland per month, yes, they currently are high. A 1-bedroom apartment, the average in Dublin is 1,700 plus, and in Cork, 1,200 plus. A 2-bedroom apartment, you're looking at 2,250 plus on average, and in Cork, 1,600 plus on average. The share accommodation option for a room in Dublin city centre and suburbs, currently we're talking about 728 on average for a room in a shared property. In Cork City, that's about 610. Cheaper accommodation can be found in smaller towns or commuter towns, and a lot of people would live in commuter towns outside of Dublin to cut down on the cost of rent. So that's something just to be aware of. And if it does get to the point where you're looking for accommodation, there's 2 good websites in Ireland that a lot of people would use, which is daft.ie and myhome.ie. We'd always say as EURES advisors, also talk to your future employer or talk to us as a EURES advisor. Like I would guide and help people and give them options to try and support you and ask for help in finding that accommodation. You will find a lot of employers will be there and will support you because they'll know their local area and they are open to giving that support. And we always ask employers as well to look at that as an option to give you that support. So some approximate prices from a typical shopping basket. So looking at a basket of shopping, you need to be able to compare not only the salary in Ireland and Portugal, but also the cost of living. So the cost of living in Ireland would be higher than Portugal. So for example, in Ireland, eggs, it's €2.70, or milk would be €1.50. 2-hour bus tram commuter ticket in Dublin is currently about €2. So you may have a higher wage in Ireland, but you must be aware that the cost of living in Ireland, again, is more than Portugal. So are you a non-EU national? So some of you today are from outside the EU. So in order to work in Ireland, a non-EEA national, unless they are exempted, must hold a valid employment permit. The Department of Enterprise, Trade and Employment administers the employment permit system. Detailed information on work permits, highly skilled eligible occupations list, etc., is available on the website. So that's the DETE website, and you would have to go in and check those details. In an eligible list of occupations, so childcare workers and the vast majority of hospitality jobs, with the exception of experienced chefs, are at present not eligible for work permits in Ireland. Critical skill work permit. If you have any of the critical skill listed on the eligible occupation list, you or your Irish employer can apply for critical skills work permit. Currently, there is demand in the construction sector and also in the nursing and midwifery professionals. So just a brief kind of overview of Ireland. So Ireland has the youngest population in the EU. 33% are currently under the age of 25. International share of the workforce is the 4th highest in the EU. It was 17% in the last report in 2019. Ireland offers a very good quality of life. We have a temperate climate, which means we do have a lot of rain, but with all that rain, it's what makes Ireland so green. English speaking, so the Irish language is still spoken in some areas, but for work, English is essential. A lot of people we do find that come from abroad love to learn some Gaeilge and be able to speak, you know, and learn Irish. Many young people have a variety of interests. So like there's plenty of things there culturally, sport-wise. So football, Gaelic games, golf, fishing, rugby. There's really good music, theatre, cinema. So there's lots of things for you to do to come in Ireland, to look at your interests, your hobbies. So as we say in Ireland, we like to have the crack. Now, what this means is that we have enjoyable social activity and a good time. And we always love to think that people come from abroad can experience the crack. So I'd like to thank you for your time with this presentation. Thank you very much. And as we say in Ireland, Gorav Matagud. This presentation will be shared with you all, so you'll be able to go in on the presentation and go in and out on all the different links. As EURES advisors both in Portugal and in Ireland, we're here to support you. So like I'm very happy to help you on any queries that you have. We can go through at the end if you want to ask any questions. And also in the next week or two, if you think, look, you know, I'm very interested in coming to Ireland, more than happy for you to send on your CV and we can look at options with you. So thank you for your time and I will finish the slideshow there now. So I'll go through this presentation with you as well. So what we will cover is the purposes of a CV, basic CV structure, how to write a personal profile, and some interview tips.
I'm sorry, I know my internet dropped out there. I hope you heard the last things I said, but basically the purpose of a CV is to convince the reader to interview you, and it forms the basis of the interview. So when you're preparing your CV, you should give a clear summary of your education, your work experience, your competencies, achievements, and abilities. And your CV must not be more than 2 pages long. So it's a lot of information to fit into 2 pages. But remember, the employer will decide whether to interview you based on your CV. There are a number of types of CV, but the most commonly used is the chronological CV. It's a very simple format, it's fact-based, and it provides a clear overview of your experience and your qualifications. So job seekers, when you're preparing your CV, you need to know what are your unique selling points. What's unique about your knowledge, skills, experience, personal qualities, achievements, and competencies? So what makes a good CV? Well, it must highlight your unique selling points. It must be interesting and relevant. It must be a truthful representation. And it should be tailored to every job you apply for. So you need to highlight the skills and experience that are asked for in the job spec and you apply them to your CV. So it's really important that you read the job spec, look at what the company are asking for, and then apply that to your CV. How can you give them what they're asking for? So you use bullet points instead of paragraphs, and each bullet point should tell a story. So you accomplished X by doing Y, resulting in Z. You're remembering that you're having to fit a lot of information into 2 pages. So bullet points are a good way of doing that. It's really important to eliminate errors in spelling and grammar.
Again.
Sorry, we forgot,
Yeah.
we lost Cathy again. Gavin, I would really appreciate if you could take over the presentation and we will ask Cathy our excuses, but it's better for everyone, I believe.
That's okay, Susana. So we were at preparing your CV. I have access, I can move the slides forward. So your CV should have a clear summary of your education, work experience, competencies, achievements, and abilities. And Cathy had said it should be not more than 2 pages long, and that's an important piece to know. In Ireland, a lot of employers, if it's longer than 2 CVs, they mightn't even look at it. Remember, an employer will decide whether to interview you based on your CV, so that's why we're saying 2 pages. You know, really keep it to that. A lot of Irish employers, if it's over 2 pages, you know, they may not even look at it. But again, as EURES advisors, we're here to help you with that. So you can send on your CVs. We'll look at them and work through them with you to make sure, you know, you have the best opportunity possible when we're sending CVs on to employers. So Cathy had already said there about the chronological order, which is commonly used. So keep it a simple format, fact-based, provides a clear overview of your experience and qualifications. So that is really good advice. So just keep it simple, keep it to the facts, and provide a clear overview of the experience and qualifications, and keep it in bullet point. So the unique selling points, what is your USP? So job seekers need to be aware of what they have to offer employers and communicate their unique selling points. So what is your knowledge around the job? What are your skills? What is your experience? What personal qualities can you bring to the role and to that workplace? What are your achievements to date, and what are your competencies? And have a think about things like your achievements. Okay, you know, maybe you've qualified from college, but maybe you haven't. So there's other things you might have done that are as just as much achievement. Maybe you've been involved in a local group where you're living and done different things that way. So, you know, it's not always like that you've achieved a master's or something like that. Very often employers will say, oh, that person actually was involved in a local group on the ground and look what they did there. So, you know, think outside the box with these things as well. So what makes a good CV? So highlight your unique selling points, which we've already just talked about. Must be interesting and relevant. So when we say interesting and relevant, look at the job specification, look at the advert. So what are they looking for? So keep it relevant to what is in the job advert, what is the job specification. Must be a truthful representation, that goes without saying. Tailored to every job applied for. So highlight the skills and experience listed in the job spec and apply them to your CV. That's something that people don't often think about, but it is very important to do that. So for each job you're applying for, always keep it specific to that and make those changes on your CV where necessary. So a CV is a working document. So that's what we mean. You're constantly updating it, changing it, depending on the type of job you're going for. Employers go through CVs, and in fact, now they even have technology that can pick out keywords that would relate back to the job advert or the job spec. And that's very often how they'll pick people to bring forward for interviews. So that's where you're looking through the job advert. Where can I put in that I have these key things they're looking for? So use those bullet points instead of paragraphs. Each bullet point should tell a story. So accomplished X by doing Y, resulting in Z. Eliminate errors in spelling and grammar, very, very important. So always make sure you do spell check, grammar check. Get someone else to read through your CV as well, very important. They might pick up things that you haven't. Use capitals, underlining, and bold to highlight areas of your CV. Use action words, coordinated, developed, managed, delegated. Use the white space, so no cramming. Very often I get CVs through to me and people have squeezed everything into them and it just does not look good. So think about it. When I send that on to an employer, they're going to also have the same kind of thinking. So don't be afraid to space it out, and but keep it to those 2 pages. What goes into a CV? So your name, address, email, phone number, Skype address, LinkedIn profile. Personal profile. So this is a short paragraph giving the highlights of your qualifications, experience, specific skills and abilities. So a lot of people up the top of your CV, even if you had maybe 10 words that relates to that, you don't even have to put it into a paragraph. Little bullet points, again, works very good. Employer looks at that, they pick up things straight away. The positions you have held, starting with your most recent job, include the company names, very important, and addresses and the dates you worked for with each employer. Very often we get CVs in and people might have put in a role, so chef, but they don't say who was the restaurant they were working for, where were they, how long. Very important to put in. Your relevant experience, describe your specific duties, responsibilities in bullet point format. Make sure the experience you describe is relevant to the job you're applying for. So always keep going back to the job advert, the job spec, and make sure that that's there in the CV. Your relevant education qualifications, so begin with the most recent, work back. Any certificates or specific skills you may have, so computer skills, a driving license, a safe pass, anything like that that's related to the role. Any significant achievements that could relate to sports, arts, fundraising, charities, anything that shows you have worked to reach a goal. Any voluntary or community work you have done, brilliant, put that in. Referees, again, you can put that in, available on request. Employers in Ireland will always contact referees. It would be the same in Portugal as far as I'm aware, but always you can put that in, available on a request, so that they request that from you before contacting the referee. Your interest and hobbies down the end of a CV, just even a few brief little pointers on your interest and hobbies, just a good idea to include it. So what is a personal profile? A personal profile is a short paragraph that goes near the top of your CV. It can be a little paragraph or in bullet point again. It tells the interviewer at a glance what you have to offer and what type of position you are interested in. It highlights why you are the best person for the job. So again, adapted to suit different jobs that you are looking at. Use positive keywords to emphasize your experience, skills, or abilities. Writing a cover letter. A cover letter is the letter you send with your CV, and it should state the reason you are applying for the job, a brief description of your qualifications and relevant experience. What should I say in my cover letter? Say which job you are applying for and why your experience makes you a good fit for the position. Refer to the areas of your CV that match the job requirements, your qualifications and relevant experience. Cover letters should be clear and to the point. Keep the letter to 1 page if possible, but definitely no longer than 2 pages. So yeah, just to go back to the cover letter. So, you're applying from abroad. If you're sending CVs through to us, what I would always say to someone is just put a brief piece together on why you're applying for the job in email format. And then when we send the CVs on to the employer, we include that. Some people would also do that as an attachment with their CV. Things are changing in Ireland in that it's not as important, but still a lot of employers will look for that cover letter. So as I say, include it in the email or as an attachment with your CV. So you've got through the process, you've been offered interview. So very important to prepare in advance. So always research the organizations. So Google them, look them up online. Who is the organization? What are they doing? Who's in it? Who's the chief officer? look for as much information as you can so that you know the organization, you have a feel for it. That will often come up in interview. What do you know about our organization? So important to have a little piece there that you can, you know, rattle off an interview. You know, it is important. But for you as well, this is an organization you're going to be working for. So it would make sense for you to do that piece and to find out, who is this company? What do they do? What's their culture? You know, does this fit with me? Match your selling points to the needs of the organization. Very often you'll find on a web page or their website, you know, the needs of the organization. And it's about you then saying, oh, well, look, this is what I can offer. This is matching the needs of this organization. Know your CV inside out, because very often in interview, they're going to ask you for a brief overview of your work history, of your CV at the very start. Preparation on the day, grooming and dress goes without saying, very important. Make sure that you know the company. What way would you have to dress for the interview? That's as much important online as it is for a non-site interview. What to bring to the interview. So very often maybe you're going to have to bring documents with you. You might have to prepare something in advance to bring. So it's to make sure you have all those pieces ready to go. Managing the nerves. Look, it's only natural. We all get nervous before interviews. So, you know, how do we de-stress ourselves before an interview? Is it through deep breathing, getting a bit of fresh air, having some water to hand? Arrive at least 15 minutes before the interview. So if you're going for an interview, make sure that you have the time, that you're there ahead of time, not too early, but that you're not going to be arriving late for an interview. So the interview process, 3 things an employer wants to know. They'll always want to know, can you do the job? Will you do the job? And will you be the right fit for the company? So there are things you're going to need to prepare beforehand and have a think about. Can I do this job? Will you do the job? And will you be the fit for the company? So this is what you want to show the interviewer, you know, on the day of the interview. So first impressions are always critical. So the minute you walk through the door, that first impression is so important. And remember, even that person out at that reception desk, they are going to also have a first impression of you. Even with online interviews, even you'll find it might be an administrative person that is going to be greeting you initially before you go into the interview. So they will even be making a first impression of you during the interview. You know, so when you walk in the door, always make eye contact with the interview panel. That's the same online. So remember to be looking straight into the camera, make eye contact with the different people, greet them, say hello. Answer with examples. So always give your examples in an interview. That's very important. Make sure that you can sell your strengths. Short, crisp answers, keep to the point, no waffling, and avoid making negative comments about yourself or about, you know, the past. You can, you know, there will be things in an interview you're going to be asked, like, can you think of a time maybe when things didn't go so well? But it's also showing a solution and how you kind of turned it around. Okay. So competency-based interviews are very common in Ireland. And how do you respond to situations that are required for the job? The STAR framework is commonly used, and in training in interview techniques, this is what we would be suggesting to people that they use. So think of a situation. So you describe the situation briefly, the task, or describe what needed to be done, the action. What action did you take? So what skills did you use, and what was the result in the outcome and how you improved the situation? So that's the STAR framework. So when you're preparing for your interview, use the STAR framework to maybe they'll say, okay, so in the past, did you manage a team? So think of that situation where you did manage the team. Describe what needed to be done when you managed the team. What action did you take? So what skills did you use in managing that team? And what were the results of managing that team and the outcome? So for Skype interviews, online interviews, so make sure you're in the right environment. So that's a quiet space with no clutter in the background and well lit. So best thing to do is think of a blank wall behind you. Like, yes, you could be at home, but make sure there's no washing in the background, dirty dishes, anything like that. Also remember where you are in relation to a window. They suggest you would sit side on rather than with the window behind you. Then if the sun's coming in, they're not going to be able to see you. The right connection. So here we are today, and Cathy working from home, and for some reason is dropping in and out. So always make sure you run some tests beforehand. Try to avoid smartphones if possible. Better to be on a laptop if you can. The right settings. Avoid inbuilt microphones and speakers. Small earbuds are better. Make sure you probably have a headset like I have on today. Very important for interview. The right behavior. So sit close enough to the camera, but not too close. Dress professionally. So when you're doing an online interview, it's to try and remember to look as much as possible directly at the camera, which I'm now trying to do. Someone before suggested to me that you might even put a sticky just or something just beside the camera so that you're looking as much as possible directly at that. Also, don't be afraid to make eye contact when someone asks you the interview. There could be a panel of maybe 2 or 3 people. So it's about just making that eye contact through the camera. So you're speaking directly to the camera on your laptop. The right approach. So it's still a job interview, even if it is conducted remotely. So, you know, we can forget that when it's online, we don't, you know, maybe let down things. We don't think so much about what we're doing, but yeah, you have to imagine that it's like you're sitting in that room with the interview panel. You know, dress professionally, I suppose visibly from the top up, make sure that you're looking professional. If you have your pajamas on the bottom, I know I've heard of people doing that, so that's up to you, but maybe not the best idea. Put on that whatever you need to do. So you have to wear shirts, tie and trousers, suit, whatever you need for that interview. That will make you more confident as well. So the end of interview, they're always going to say, so do you have any questions for us? So think maybe of 1 or 2 little questions you can ask the interview panel. Summarize what you have to offer. So think about a little piece that, you know, at the end you say, yeah, thank you for your time. This is what I can bring to the job. And maybe just have a few of the skills that you have that are the fit. Express that you want the job. Look, I'm really interested in working for this company. And again, I'd love this role, and this is the reason why. Always thank the interviewers, and again, always remember the way out to thank the receptionist. Very important, because again, the interviewers are probably going to go, oh, what was Gavin Caird like outside there when he was sitting waiting for us? How is he on the way out? So be friendly to everybody. Yeah, you can be nervous, but just remember to do that. So again, thank you very much. That was a brief overview of CV and interview skills. Again, as EURES advisors, we're here to help you with that. EURES advisors there in Portugal, they have knowledge of CV and interview skills, and in Ireland, and we've all done EURES training on CV and interview skills, and we're more than happy to help you. And we can review your CVs, look at maybe pointers, look at different things to make changes before we would send them on to employers. Okay, so that is the end of the presentation on CV and interview skills. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Gavin.
No
And
bother.
thank you,
Gavin.
Cathy. Sorry for all the technical issues, but
Oh,
I think
I'm
this
so
was the
sorry.
best way. Yeah.
Was you did a great job, Gavin. Thank you.
No bother. No bother.
So we now give the opportunity for the participants to show themselves and ask questions either through the chats, or if you want to, I will ask my colleagues from EURES Portugal to give permission for microphones and cameras to be turned on again. Again,
Yeah.
now for the first time in the meeting, of course. But the chat is also available if you want to write your questions. The floor is yours. Take the opportunity that you
now,
have the Irish colleagues with us. So I have one question in the chat. Does EURES Ireland use TMS program by Sweden or Germany? I believe it's Sweden, isn't it, Gavin?
By both. We can
By
use
both. Okay.
We can
Yeah.
utilize both, Susana. Yeah.
Okay.
We
The
are
cameras.
we administer through Sweden, but we can accept applications from Germany also.
Perfect. But regardless of the projects, for the participants, it's important to know that the way the program works is the same. Not the way, the supports are the same, regardless of the project you use, okay?
Yeah. That's true, Susana. Yeah.
Another question in the chat, if there are opportunities in events management.
Yeah, there would definitely be opportunities in event management in Ireland. Would it be an area that we would have links to it? But again, if someone sends us on a CV, we can look at it and guide them in the right direction. Again, it's about using those job websites are very good. And, I work day to day with people in Ireland. So, using those websites, putting in event management, they will find jobs come up straight away in event management. So, but again, we can guide them. That's what we're here to do, Susana. Yeah.
Okay, and what's the best email address they should use when wanting to send you a CV or a cover letter for revision or for advice?
Like I put my email address up there, gavin.caird@welfare.ie.
Cathy, maybe you can put it in the chat.
Yeah, and I have
we also have the EURES. Yeah. So EURES@welfare.ie is our kind of team email address. So that would be for all the EURES advisors in Ireland, and one of our support team then puts that out to everybody. So that's the other way. But again, like I'm quite happy if anyone has questions or queries, they can send it to me, gavin.caird@welfare.ie, or to EURES@welfare.ie.
Okay, for those wanting to ask questions live, they can raise their hands so that we know they are interested in talking. For now, we have another question in the chat.
Anna, just to interrupt you for one sec, just in relation to event management roles, many of the hotels have positions for event managers. It's very big in hospitality because obviously we have a lot of weddings and different types of events in hotels. So that's a good area to look if you want to get started in the industry.
Okay, thank you. Yes, it was an important input. Also, someone is asking if there is an age limit to participate. I'm not sure if it's to participate in the TMS. There's no age limit, if that's the case. The participants also asks if there are opportunities in as a secretary assistant and administrative areas. So
of course,
yeah,
loads of opportunities in Ireland. Yeah, there would be.
English level would need to be very high.
Yes, of course. Also, someone is explaining they submitted an application to CORU. I'm not sure what this is.
Yes.
CORU.
Yeah.
He asks, yes, Cathy.
It's a body for healthcare recognition of healthcare qualifications in Ireland. So probably has a healthcare qualification. What's the question?
The question is, if I wish to work in Ireland, would I require other qualification? Oh, we lost Cathy again.
Yeah, in relation to healthcare, Cathy coming back.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Generally
Yeah.
speaking, if you have a degree in the particular field, then you probably don't need an additional qualification, but you would need to have certain English language requirements.
Okay. Also
And
another.
that's on a case-by-case basis, I suppose, is the
Yeah.
best way to look at it, Susana. So, yeah.
If that person would like to send me an email directly to cathy.moran@welfare.ie, the email address is in the chat, I'll help them further with it.
Thank you so much. Another direct question regarding the opportunities available for office management ATM. Once again, I think the best way is to send you an email with the CV and some cover letter explaining, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Now, there's a different question. This regarding opportunities in IT, but remote opportunities. Is there room for this?
It depends on the company, but yes, some companies do offer remote roles, but whether they would offer remote roles in Portugal, I'm not certain.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
they offer remote roles so that people can work from home 2 or
In
3 days a
Ireland.
week. Most of them are doing that, but they would expect the person to be in Ireland.
Yeah.
So they would
Yeah.
specifically have to inquire if the company would be happy for them to be in another country.
Yeah, the participant is explaining that he or she have had little success even when fully complying with the job requirements. And in CV in Portugal, he says it works quite well, but in Ireland, not very successful until now. Now, another question. I've been looking towards IT roles recently. Is there any stable roles at the moment with help desk or even junior data analytic roles?
Again, I
Really?
would say send your CV because we do have companies looking for those particular types of roles.
Okay. Then if previous living experience in England is a good asset.
Probably is because of the language. They
Your
would have
English
good
language.
English if they worked
Yeah.
in England.
So then people giving thanks to your further explanations. Let's see if there's something else. Now something in Portuguese. This is referring to the accommodation aspect of living in Ireland. This person has some information that the accommodation in Ireland can be difficult to find. Can you give us some more information about this? Finding an apartment, etc.
Okay, so there is a shortage currently, and I mean we did talk about the price on average of accommodation, but a lot of employers will help and support someone if they're coming from abroad in finding accommodation, and some employers will even give maybe an initial accommodation when that person is looking. So there is accommodation available, and you know, I've done a recent project with, say, McDonald's, and we had 10 people coming from abroad. All of them got housing within Dublin, but that was supported both by the employer and ourselves in EURES Ireland. So wouldn't see it as a block. And I mean, there's always ways around it and looking at it. And we would always say it to the employer. Don't be afraid to say it. Like if they want you, they'll want you, and they look at every way that they can to help and support you. So
Okay. We had someone raising their hands to talk, but they just put it down. I didn't.
It was Emma, and she right, but she can speak if you want, Emma. You are welcome.
Hi, sorry, I wrote in the chat, but I can ask here, it's fine. Thank you for the presentation. I'm a nutritionist, and I would like to know if there's a demand for nutritionists in Ireland, aside from clinical nutrition, because I'm more on the community and food education aspect, so that's where I'm mostly going for.
yeah, Emma, definitely. Yeah, there would be. You could send your CV to Cathy. Cathy looks after all healthcare positions, and she would have contacts with the HSE and different people. So there is certainly opportunities in Ireland for that, for clinical. Above clinical, what you're saying is that community, and I know based, I live in Kilkenny, and there would be a demand for, in the southeast of Ireland, definitely for community-based dietitians, nutritionists. So it would be an option, Emma.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much.
No bother.
Yes, we'll send you more information, Emma, when you send us the email.
Any more questions from the participant side, either written on the chat or live? If you raise your hands, we can give you permission to turn on your microphones. Okay, if not, maybe it's an hour webinar, so I think this is okay. I think we covered everything. Your presentation was very thorough, very detailed and clear. Even with the difficult technical things, we solved it. So I would like to thank you again very much, Gavin and Cathy. Cathy, try to turn on your camera just so we can say goodbye to you. Also, thank you for my colleagues, Dora and Anna, for helping with the technical issues. Thank
I
you
don't
to
know if
all
my camera
participants.
worked.
Not yet.
We don't
No.
see you, Cathy, unfortunately.
But we can hear you. So
We
thank
can
you
hear
so
you,
much for
Cathy.
all participants. We will send you the presentations, both presentations by email. We will tell you when the recording of this presentation is available on the YouTube channel from EURES Portugal. Again, Cathy, Gavin, thank you so much. We will see
No
each
bother at
other
all.
in another opportunity. Thank you so
Yes.
much.
And
Thank you very
everybody
much,
for
guys.
attending today, and thank
Thank
you
you.
to everybody in EURES Portugal for
Yes,
helping us with this, because
thank you
without
all
you,
for,
it wouldn't
It was
have
a-
happened.
yeah.
So
It was a
thank you.
Thank you all
pleasure.
for your interest in working in Ireland, and
yeah.
hopefully we'll talk to you all again soon.
We will.
See you soon. Yeah.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you
Bye-bye.
so much.
Thank
Thank
you.
you for
Bye-bye.
coming in
Bye.
today.
We will ask all participants to leave the meeting as well. Thank you.
Yeah, thank
Thank
you.
you.